Imagine being trapped where the sun barely rises, surrounded by nothing but endless white. No trees, no animals, only ice cracking beneath your feet. 41 men, frozen in time, watch their only hope splinter and sink. Their ship, crushed to pieces by a merciless wall of ice. No radio, no rescue. Just an endless winter stretching across miles of deathly silence. Each day brings colder winds, thinner rations, and growing fear. Frostbite steals fingers. Hunger gnaws at stomachs. Morale hangs by a thread. Amid despair, one figure stands firm, Ernest Shackleton. His voice cuts through chaos. Calm, resolute, unyielding. He knows one mistake means 41 funerals buried in snow. Yet he refuses to let even one man die under his watch. This is the story of a leader who stared into the heart of the Antarctic and refused to blink, and how he saved them all. The year was 1914. While the world marched toward war, Ernest Shackleton pursued a different battle, conquering the last untamed frontier, Antarctica. His plan? Cross the frozen continent on foot, coast to coast, something no human had ever done. He assembled 40 ordinary men chasing extraordinary dreams. Sailors, scientists, carpenters, united by adventure and faith in their captain. Their ship, the Endurance, cut through icy seas with hope and ambition. The horizon promised glory. None foresaw the nightmare lurking ahead. The Antarctic ice would soon entrap them, turning explorers into castaways, forcing them into a fight for survival no training could prepare them for. What followed became one of history's greatest survival epics, a masterclass in leadership and human resilience. If you crave stories that inspire courage, subscribe to our channel. Drop a comment. From which city and country are you watching? And don't forget to like. It helps us bring you more tales that move the soul. Ernest Shackleton always carried a hunger for horizons. The farther the world's edges stretched, the stronger his urge to chase them. By 1914, he'd already braved Antarctic winds twice. But this time, his ambition burned higher, to cross the entire frozen continent on foot. It was bold, dangerous, perhaps impossible. But Shackleton didn't flinch. He believed impossible was just a word others used when they lacked courage. Recruitment posters promised honor and recognition in case of success. It drew dreamers, men willing to trade comfort for glory. Scientists, sailors, carpenters, 40 men bound not by wealth or fame, but by the lure of uncharted ice. Their ship Endurance was more than wood and sail. It was a promise to carve human footprints where none existed. Families watched from docks as the vessel slipped into the South Atlantic. Flags waved, hearts pounded. Adventure was calling. The crew laughed easily then, unaware that laughter would soon be replaced by the grind of survival. In hushed whispers, some wondered, what would Antarctica look like? Endless white, hidden wonders, frozen death. Shackleton reassured them with calm certainty. "We'll endure," he said. The name of their ship became their vow. The first weeks were smooth. Clear skies, lively banter, and journals full of hope. But ice grows silent and slow before it strikes. As the horizon thickened with drifting floes, the mood shifted. The sea hardened into a jagged trap. Shackleton ordered constant vigilance. "The ice decides now," he warned. "We follow its rules or we perish." When Endurance met her first groaning pressure ridge, wood cracked like rifle fire, a grim prelude of what lay ahead. The journey for glory was over. The fight for survival had just begun. The Antarctic ice gripped tighter each day, imprisoning Endurance in a maze of endless white. Every crack and fissure in the ice felt like a cruel taunt, promising freedom, yet threatening to swallow them whole. At first, the crew marveled at the surreal landscape, towering icebergs gleaming under the pale, unforgiving sun. But beneath the shimmering beauty, a creeping dread settled deep in their bones. The ship's timbers began to groan under relentless pressure. Shackleton ordered constant watches. "Search for open leads," he commanded. Men climbed rigging, eyes straining across the frozen horizon for a crack, a chance to escape. But the ice closed in like a vice, squeezing wood and steel with terrifying force. Every attempt to break free was met with the grinding roar of frozen jaws crushing their fragile vessel. Days blended into endless nights. The biting cold seeped into every corner of the ship. Frostbite crept silently, stealing fingers and toes, while hunger gnawed relentlessly at their spirits. Shackleton's calm presence became their lifeline. He paced the decks, listening to whispered fears and quiet doubts. "Together we survive," "Alone we fall," he reminded them, a steady beacon in the encroaching storm. The crew adapted to their icy prison. Dog teams ran frantic circuits on the frozen floes, sailors patched sails with trembling hands, and laughter, fragile but persistent, broke through moments of despair. Sleep became a rare commodity. The constant creaks and cracks of the ice were a relentless soundtrack. The ship moaned like a trapped beast, echoing their growing anxiety. Supplies dwindled. Food rations thinned to hard biscuits, salted meat, and melted ice water. Each meager meal was a bitter reminder of their fragile hold on survival. Tensions flared in cramped quarters. Arguments erupted over rationing, cold, and the looming unknown. Shackleton's steady voice and firm leadership diffused conflicts before they could fester. In stolen moments by flickering lantern light, men poured their souls into journals, capturing hopes, fears, and dreams of distant warmth and freedom. The relentless cold seeped into their bones and minds alike, testing endurance beyond physical limits. Some nights, despair threatened to overwhelm them all. As the ice tightened its grip, the men braced themselves for a battle they could neither avoid nor win. Then, one terrifying night, a thunderous crack shattered the eerie silence. The ice began to crush endurance with brutal, unforgiving force. Masts splintered, the hull groaned and finally breached. Water flooded the decks as the men scrambled desperately onto the unforgiving ice floe. Their ship, their home and hope, vanished beneath the frozen waves. Shackleton's voice rang out. Ship and stores lost, but not hope. Survival became their sole mission, bound by a solemn promise. None would be left behind, no matter the cost. With the Endurance crushed beneath the ice, Shackleton knew their journey was far from over. The frozen landscape offered no shelter, no comfort, only endless white and biting cold. The men gathered their supplies carefully, rationing what remained for the uncertain path ahead. Every item might mean the difference between life and death. Dogs whined anxiously, sensing the loss of their home. Shackleton made sure they were cared for. Their strength and loyalty were vital. The crew established a makeshift camp on the shifting ice floe. Tents pitched against the wind, fires sparked to fight the cold, but warmth was a fleeting visitor. The men fought loneliness and fear. Isolation stretched their minds thin, but Shackleton's leadership anchored their spirits firmly to hope. Daily routines became their salvation, gathering melted ice for water, checking supplies, maintaining their fragile camp amid the shifting ice. Conversations around the fire turned from lighthearted tales to shared dreams of rescue and survival. Bonds formed deeper than ever. Despite the hardship, moments of beauty remained. A sunrise painting the ice gold, the quiet flutter of a bird daring to visit this frozen wasteland. Shackleton encouraged each man, knowing that morale was as critical as food and shelter. His resolve inspired resilience against despair's tide, but nature was relentless. The ice floe shifted unpredictably, threatening to crack and send them plunging into icy waters at any moment. Storms battered their camp, whipping snow into blinding blizzards. Visibility vanished, and the cold gnawed relentlessly at exposed skin. One night, a crevasse opened beneath the tents. Quick action saved their lives, but the ever-present danger weighed heavily on every mind. As days stretched into weeks, Shackleton plotted their next move, a daring journey toward Elephant Island, miles away, but their only hope for rescue. They prepared sledges, gathered supplies, and steeled themselves for the treacherous trek across the ice and open sea ahead. Every man knew the odds were against them, but surrender was not an option. Together, they would endure. The men left their fragile camp behind, stepping cautiously onto the shifting ice, each footfall a reminder of the peril beneath. Shackleton's orders were clear: stay together, move steadily, and never lose hope, no matter how brutal the journey. The sledges creaked as they hauled supplies, muscles burning in the freezing cold, lungs gasping for breath in the icy air. Dog teams pulled tirelessly, their fierce loyalty fueling the men's spirits in this frozen wilderness. Blizzards howled without warning, whiteouts swallowing all sight, forcing the crew to rely on instincts and the steady rhythm of footsteps. Cold bit deeper each day. Fingers and toes threatened to freeze despite layered clothing and constant movement. Despite exhaustion, the men shared stories, songs, and laughter, stitching their frayed nerves back together with camaraderie. Shackleton kept a keen eye on his crew, ready to intervene whenever doubts or despair crept in. Their path was treacherous. Thin ice, hidden crevasses, and unpredictable weather tested every step. Nightfall offered little respite. Temperatures plunged, and the men huddled close inside tents, fighting the cold that seeped into bones. The Southern Ocean awaited beyond the ice, a dark, churning expanse promising freedom if they could survive the crossing. Shackleton's plan was audacious: sail from Elephant Island to South Georgia in a tiny lifeboat to fetch help. As they approached the island, hope flickered like a fragile flame. But dangers remained deadly and real. Every man carried memories of home, fueling their will to survive and reunite with loved ones. The journey tested not only their bodies but their souls, revealing the depths of courage born from unbreakable unity. With Elephant Island behind them, Shackleton faced the daunting task of crossing the wild Southern Ocean to reach help. A desperate gamble. The lifeboat, tiny and fragile, would carry just a handful of men through monstrous waves and freezing spray. Shackleton handpicked his crew, the strongest, the bravest men he trusted with his life. They stocked the boat with scarce provisions, knowing the voyage could last weeks amid unpredictable storms. The ocean roared as they set off, the cold seeping through their soaked clothes, every moment a battle against nature's fury. Waves crashed over the lifeboat, threatening to capsize their fragile craft in an unforgiving sea. Sun and storm alternated unpredictably, each day a test of endurance and willpower. The men huddled close, sharing strength and stories to fend off despair and keep spirits alive. Shackleton's leadership was crucial, his steady voice a beacon in the dark hours of exhaustion. After days of grueling struggle, they sighted South Georgia's jagged peaks rising from the mist, a promise of salvation. Landing on the island was perilous, with rocky shores and crashing waves challenging their final steps. Yet the crew pressed on, driven by the hope of rescue and the memory of those left behind. Shackleton immediately organized a crossing of South Georgia's treacherous mountains to reach the whaling stations. Despite injuries and exhaustion, they navigated dense forests, steep cliffs, and icy streams with relentless determination. Their journey was a testament to human spirit, a fight fueled by hope, courage, and unbreakable brotherhood. After days of grueling trek, Shackleton and his men finally reached the whaling station on South Georgia, a beacon of civilization amidst the wilderness. Their arrival sparked immediate rescue efforts, but Shackleton's heart remained with those still stranded on Elephant Island. He wasted no time organizing missions to bring every man home, knowing time was against them as winter approached. Multiple attempts to reach Elephant Island were thwarted by fierce sea ice and brutal storms, testing patience and resolve. But Shackleton never lost faith, inspiring crews with unwavering determination and hope. Finally, after months of struggle, a rescue ship broke through the ice, reaching the frozen island where the men waited. The reunion was emotional. Weary survivors embraced, tears mixing with ice and salt. Shackleton ensured no man was left behind, his promise fulfilled against impossible odds. The ordeal forged bonds that would last a lifetime. Stories of courage, leadership, and survival echoing through history. The world celebrated Shackleton's unyielding spirit, a beacon for leaders and dreamers alike. His legacy reminds us that true leadership is measured not by conquest, but by care for those who follow. In the face of overwhelming odds, unity and hope became the men's greatest weapons. Their story endures as a testament to human resilience, proof that even in the darkest places, light can shine. Thank you for joining this journey into Shackleton's incredible leadership and courage. If this story moved you, please like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more inspiring tales. Ernest Shackleton's journey was more than a tale of survival. It was a masterclass in leadership, resilience, and hope against all odds. He showed the world that true strength lies not in power or conquest, but in caring deeply for those who depend on you. His story reminds us that even in the coldest, darkest moments, unity and courage can light the way forward. Thank you so much for watching. What part of Shackleton's leadership inspired you the most? Share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like if you want more stories that uplift and inspire. Until the next video, take care and stay strong.